because this craziness, this sickness in this country now is shot through the whole society. You know, people in law enforcement have also succumbed to right-wing extremism and white nationalism. Again, what this points up is how pervasive and vast a problem this is, and we will be dealing with it for a long time.
When you work late nights in dark, repulsive conditions, you probably expect to get paid. They don't. There are thousands of hard-working, underpaid men and women in your city right now. They're called musicians. Any given night of the week, they put themselves on the line for you and your drunk friends. The problem? You're not even there. The beer he got paid with tonight will never keep him warm. That guitar she still owes 12 payments on will never love her back. You can help. Go to your local dive bar right now. Pay the cover charge. Sit down with one of these outcasts and put yourself in their shoes. Take one home. Hell, take two if you want. Support local music. Sleep with a musician tonight. Without you, all we have left are ballads.
T-minus 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11.
got one life to live, and not no other. My mama taught me how to land on my feet. I have this way of finding trouble. It's never far. Wherever I go, take one step after another. You gotta move like a rolling stone. Hey! You gotta move like a rolling stone. Oh yeah! Hey! You gotta move like a rolling stone. Oh yeah! Well, I woke up this morning with the devil knocking on my door. Well, he came without warning with a deal, you know, I just couldn't ignore. I do believe, my pretty lady, that it's time for me to move along. Take one step after another. You gotta move like a rolling stone. Hey! You gotta move like a rolling stone. Oh yeah! Hey! You gotta move like a rolling stone. Oh yeah! You gotta move like a rolling stone. Oh yeah! Hey! You gotta move like a rolling stone. Oh yeah! Hey! You gotta move like a rolling stone. Oh yeah! Hey! You gotta move like a rolling stone. Oh yeah!
All right. Hi, folks. It's me, Big Ugly Jim. Now, officially, thanks to the incredibly powerful YouTubes, I am now at Big Ugly Jim on YouTube, which I don't think matters, but it's kind of fun. How's everyone doing today? And by everyone, I mean whoever's watching, and it's probably not a huge list of people, because I'm what you call a small streaming Andy. However, I'm fun. At least I hope I am. Things in my world are good. Been through a little bit of winter. It's officially hit. We had to shovel. Have to shovel again. Last week we were all natural lighting. This week not so much. So that's life. I'll deal. I'll cope. I'm a strong person. But yeah, got some snow. Got some snow-related allergies, which caused me to have a massive headache. That was super cool. I'm playing a show tonight, which I'm stoked about. This is my other band. I'll show you part of my costume. A little bit of Daisy Dukes. Daisy Dukes. There's nothing holy about that at all. I mean, they have holes, but it is sacrilegious. So this will be the first gig for this band. Been through some tumult, unfortunately, but this will be our first gig, and I'm hoping it goes well. In this band, I play the trumpet, which is not my instrument of awesomeness, but I'm getting there. Getting there. It's a lot of fun. I had a cool idea this morning for a song for Bodies of Everest, and it's not even like a tune. I just had this idea. I was watching a video, and the word landslide was used, and that triggered this whole thing. So I'm gonna write a song based on that. It's gonna employ some metric modulation. It's gonna employ some storytelling without any lyrics. So big giant nerd me. Pretty stoked about it. Other than that, yeah, things are good. I wanted to start with a comment that I received on a video last week. I'm going to share this so you can see it. It's public, so I'm not doing nothing wrong and evil here. The comment says, because I refer to myself as a libertarian social, it says, I don't know if you know this, good sir. By the way, the Silver Scale who is commenting has commented on a variety of my videos and seems to be someone who watches, and I have no grievous snark towards or anything like that. And I don't think this is a mean comment. I just wanted to address it. I don't know if you know this, good sir, but libertarian socialist is just a fancy way of saying anarchist who would rather live in a community characterized by social ownership of production. I do not disagree. Being all for jails and police is decidedly un-anarchist. That is definitely a problem. One that I think I kind of addressed. But to me, the issue is there's a difference between I would like to live in a world with no jails and a practical reality, right? So I would rather being a key word there, live in a community characterized by social ownership of production. And I would love to live in an anarchist society if we could evolve as a species to the point where that was possible. But my whole point is there are people who are shitty bad. And shitty bad people you have to protect your society from. It would be grand if there were ways to do that that didn't involve a state, but I don't know what they would be. There's loud talking happening in my house. That's kind of fun. Anyways, yeah, you have to have protection for your society from people like serial killers, rapists, child predators. And until we can make it so that those things don't exist, there has to be some sort of protection of the individual. So, yeah, I'd love to live in an anarchist society, and that is my ideological dream, but it's not a practical one. So I have to, balance the two. This is one of the things I dislike, right? Libertarians, right-wing libertarians will talk about, private healthcare. And they'll say, you know what, we should have a private healthcare system, only a private healthcare system. The government shouldn't be using our tax dollars to fund healthcare for everybody. Instead, this should be, those services should be accessible to people via private industry. And private organizations would donate money to support hospitals out of an altruistic sense. That's neat. I don't believe in that. And I think that we can look at places like the United States of America that has a private healthcare system where the poor generally get the shit end of the stick, and say maybe that's a little altruistic, right? So I think it's important that we have the ability to balance what we would like to see and what we can practically expect to see. If I was to be suddenly the God King of the world, there just wouldn't be bad people. But since that's not the world we live in, we have to address the bad people issue. And that's just that. Especially so if they were publicly funded, as that would mean more or less from a state. Yes, I totally agree. I don't believe in private prisons in the least. I think that is like the grossest idea ever. And I think that nothing good comes from private prisons. This is more for jails than police, as most anarchists would be fine with security firms or something akin to such. And yes, absolutely. I don't care if they're called the police and they're publicly funded, or if it's the Shire Reef, and the Shire Reef is an appointed position among the people, and whatever. There is a need for someone to act as a protective force. That's all I'm getting at. If you're going to cornhole. If you're going to cornhole yourself into a label box, you might want to find one that better describes your thought. No offense, man. And for the record, no offense is taken in this. I don't bring this up as a means of like, I can't believe these terrible people saying mean shit about me. That's totally not the case. I would agree, if there was a perfect descriptor for how I view the world, then I would gladly apply that. But this isn't the world we live in. It's kind of like the Myers-Briggs thing. This girl that I date is fantastic and awesome, and we had a conversation about the whole Myers-Briggs thing. And I think the Myers-Briggs thing is substantially better than horoscopes or whatever, but it's still like no one is one of 16 types or 12 horoscope signs or whatever. I think that's kind of a foolish concept. And the more that we kind of, associate people as just being, one or the other or whatever, we miss all the nuance, right? Labels are wide and applicable in large sense. So am I a libertarian socialist? Absolutely. Do I believe in liberty? Totally. Is that balanced by a need to protect that liberty? Absolutely. And I believe that as a social, ultimately, the better descriptor of me wouldn't be libertarian socialist so much as like social animal who wants to live in a state where there isn't a tyrannical presence overlording over us. But that's a long label, you can't put that on a business card. So I don't. Sorry, there's comings and goings. It's confusing to me. My poor ADHD undiagnosed brain goes, hey, what's happening? Shiny thing. Yeah, anyways. So yeah, I don't take the commentary as a negative. I feel like it was a good comment, and I wanted to sort of speak to it. That's all. But today we're gonna do some talking. I wanted to talk about the Queen of Canada, Romana Diduoa, or however that's pronounced. Being a Canadian, I was there walking around all stupid, thinking that King Charles was the king. Whoops-a-doodle. But apparently we have a whole nother regent that I know nothing about. So we're going to dig in and find a little bit about Romana Diduoa, who is a QAnon person who has just decided that they're the queen, and a whole bunch of foaming at the mouth people seem to think that's a thing that you can just do. So we'll talk about that. We'll do a little digging and try to understand a little bit. We're also going to talk about this label critical infrastructure. And I'm going to start with that. This sounds really, really boring, but I think it's an interesting thing. So from a background perspective, I originally encountered the terms critical infrastructure because of my work. I work in cybersecurity and IT infrastructure stuff. I am what's called a technical business analyst, and I ended up working for the organization here in my home province that supports our electrical grid, which was a really cool gig. I really liked working for that organization. And when I came in, they had just been under the implementation of SIP, or Critical Infrastructure Protections, which is based on NERC, which is for similar kinds of protections for the nuclear energy production. So SIP is called Critical Infrastructure Protection, and what it's referring to is that the electrical grid is critical for the lives of all of the people. So we have to go to much greater extremes when it comes to cybersecurity to ensure that it is protected. This is no big surprise. However, as anyone who works in IT, in energy, in anything where you have like a business side of the business and a operations side of the business, almost all of those companies don't intrinsically follow what would be considered best practices in a perfect world. And it's because they probably didn't just start yesterday doing stuff, right? We learn as we go about how to protect things. And a lot of the things we learn, we try to implement, but rarely do we get, like a company that just has the money to, well, they all have the money, but you know what I mean? Like chooses to utilize the money to implement that properly. So critical infrastructure protection basically says all that stuff in your business world, that's where your big risks are going to be, right? Idiots sitting in their Outlook getting an email that says, download calendar of hot girls. And they go, ooh, a calendar of hot girls. And they click on the thing. And it turns out it's a virus. That kind of shit sweeps through companies, causes massive problems, is bad. So the basic premise of this critical infrastructure protection is, okay, well, we're gonna separate completely those two environments. So your business world can get fucked. We don't care. But your operations, the stuff that is critical to the in our case the province, has to be protected. So there has to be segmentation between the two. There has to be a whole bunch of controls and securities that are in place to prevent fuckery over here from affecting the systems over here. It's pretty interesting stuff from a nerdy IT guy perspective. And I've ended up doing that for, I worked in that organization for a couple of years. And then when I moved to my current gig, it's not a energy producer in the same way, but it is in the energy sector. And there are regulations that are very similar that are applied. And the term critical infrastructure gets used all the time. Where I got concerned, let me see if I can find where this was. I'm just gonna Google. Oh yeah, I gotta switch over so you can see as I Google things. I'm gonna type in critical infrastructure Alberta. This was the thing that I found interesting. Bill 1 from the UCP, this is a few years back, protects essential infrastructure by creating offenses for trespassing, interfering with operations, or causing damage. Now, using the idea of the electrical grid, this makes sense. If someone is trespassing in the things where the electrical grid is, they're interfering with the operations or causing damage, like, yeah, okay, you are actively attempting to disrupt the flow of electricity to people, and that's probably a dick thing. However, the Act legally defines essential infrastructure to include public and private infrastructure, such as pipelines and related infrastructure, oil and gas production refinery sites, utilities, telecommunications lines, towers, and equipment, highways, railways, and mines. Now, these three in particular are interesting. Why highways? Well, a lot of big roads in cities are highways. And yeah, I would say that, for example, in my city, the Trans-Canada Highway goes through. There's other highways, of course, but the Trans-Canada Highway is an example. And doing that, disruptions to the Trans-Canada Highway, probably not awesome. Railways, in theory, are an important part of our infrastructure. In practice, I think they're terrible and they should all be stopped because railways are... Oh, I didn't switch over. You can't see what the fuck I'm doing. Lame, bad streamer. There, that's better. Railways are stupid and prone to massive environmental devastation because why wouldn't they be? People give shit to pipelines all the time, but I'll tell you, I know a little bit about the safety regulations and precautions that are involved in pipeline management, and assuming that your company is even providing a bare minimum, it's a hell of a lot safer than transporting dangerous goods by rail. Just saying. this is the world we live in. Another example of what I was talking about earlier, where in a perfect world, I don't want to have oil and gas as a thing. It's a dying industry, and it is an industry that is killing us. So it's taking us to the grave with it. Probably not awesome. Not my favorite thing. But that said, we currently have a requirement for some amount of energy, some amount of petrochemical utilization. And what we need to do is very, very quickly remove that and lean on alternative energy products, lean on alternatives for those petrochemicals in production environments like manufacturing and whatever else. And until we do that, we're kind of fucking stuck having pipelines, having oil and gas, because it's what we do. Now, in a perfect world, we would get rid of it immediately. We just can't, because it would create the kind of massive chaos that would... I'm not talking about like, oh no, organizations wouldn't be able to lubricate their manufacturing tools and would have to slow down manufacture. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like people's houses would suddenly be very fucking cold in the winter. I live in a very cold place. Not about that. It would cause threat to human life. And so while I recognize that it's a net evil to continue to rely on oil, it is a net good to get the fuck off of it as quickly as possible, but have some kind of transition in place. And yeah, that makes me a terrible person. I'm okay with that. It works for me. Anyways, so railways are still in use as transportation of goods and services. Well, goods, I guess you don't transport services a whole lot. Mines in my province of Alberta, mines are a bit of a sticky wicket. We talk a little bit about mines here because we want to bring more mining jobs, which most of us are pretty opposed to, because the mining that they're talking about is pretty fucking ugly, and we don't want that kind of ecological nightmare on our hands. But whatever. This bill also allows regulations to expand the definition of essential infrastructure in the future if necessary. That's a terribly nebulous statement. Now, the reality is that any legislation can be extended in the future, if necessary, right? You can alter the legislation by drafting something new. You would have to draft something new, no matter what. But leaving this in here is gross, because it basically says critical infrastructure is this stuff plus whatever. We'll let you know if we change it. We'll add some stuff. So this came into force June 17th, 2020. And again, this is like entering any essential infrastructure, destroying or damaging essential infrastructure, obstructing, interrupting, or interfering with the construction, maintenance, use, or operation of any essential infrastructure, gaining entry to essential infrastructure under false pretenses, an individual corporation to aid, counsel, or direct the commission of an offense. That's terrible language. Creates offenses for an individual or corporation to aid, counsel, or direct the commission of an offense. That's just terrible English. Why was this a big deal? I want to see if there's some... Let's see what the CCLA is talking about. I'm not sure who the CCLA is, but I wanted to get like Canadian Civil Liberties Association. I immediately am concerned. Let's Google Canadian Civil Liberties Association just to find out who the fuck they are. Who funds them? Raises funds from the general public and private donors. Oh, this is in their FAQ. We don't want to care about them. Non-profit organization in Canada devoted to the defense of civil liberties and constitutional rights. Founded in 1964 in Toronto, prompted by the Ontario government's proposal of a bill that would have granted special powers to the police in the face of a rise in organized crime. Predecessor was the Association for Civil Liberties, ACL, which its foundation had been intended to address national issues, but had become focused primarily on issues in Ontario. Let me see if there's not a whole lot. So I'm not going to immediately discount that. Anytime I see, Canadian Civil Liberties Association type language, my immediate reaction is, oh, this is an ultra right-wing libertarian group who will probably suck. But let's see what they have to say. The right to gather and protest is fundamental in a democratic society. In Canada, it's also protected under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. These are good things. That fact doesn't mean governments haven't tried to curtail protest rights in the past. In fact, in 2019, the Canadian Civil Liberties Association took its fight to defend the right to peaceful protest all the way to the Supreme Court and won. More recently, the government of Alberta passed a contentious law some say restricts the right to gather and protest in the province. Here's a closer look at the Critical Infrastructure Defence Act, why it has critics concerned, the legal fight to strike it down, and the latest expansion of its controversial powers. So what is it? So it came into force June 17th, 2020. Was widely seen as Alberta's government's response to Indigenous-led blockades. Suddenly it's interesting why railroads and pipelines and things are appearing there. That sprung up across the country that year in solidarity with the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs fighting Coastal GasLink pipeline. And again, Coastal GasLink pipeline is a BC company that basically, in order to put a pipeline through, you have to get certain agreements with the people who own the land. And particularly in the case of the Wet'suwet'en territory, that land it was in their path, and it is not ceded to the Canadian government. So it's not about like we need to get some handshakes happening or whatever. Like we literally can't do things on their land because it's their land. There's no, I'm speaking from the sort of colonial perspective, implying that the rest of the land is not. But this was land that has never been ceded to Canada for use. So Coastal GasLink, they engaged with basically the Chiefs and Council, and Chiefs and Council is an elected position that is essential. If I understand it all correctly, it's essential to have an elected Chiefs and Council in order to qualify Native groups under the Indian Act, still horribly named Indian Act. So as much as, these are unceded territories and stuff, basically the interaction with the Canadian government requires them to have this elected group called the Chiefs and Council. And what a lot of groups, and I believe the Wet'suwet'en is one of them, have essentially done is said, okay, fine, this group can be elected and they can, speak on behalf of the band for, interacting with the government type reasons. But we still have our hereditary chiefs who are the leaders of the people. And Coastal GasLink made deals with Chiefs and Council that should have been made with the hereditary chiefs. The hereditary chiefs were like, we don't want this. This is not something we're okay with. I don't care that members of Chiefs and Council are getting paid. This isn't the point. We're not doing it. We're not putting your gas line through our space. You don't have the right. And when they started to protest, that surprisingly fell on deaf ears. Big, huge shock there. So they began to protest with blockades and things like that. And all of a sudden, Alberta's like, we need to do something. We need to pass a Critical Infrastructure Defence Act that will allow us to protect our railroads and our highways. Because any road in the middle of nowhere, you can qualify as a highway as far as that's probably not entirely true. But if you're building a pipeline, for example, you're probably building it near highways and using railways, railway lines and stuff to bring in equipment. So, interesting that we would suddenly want to have a Critical Infrastructure Defence Act. The Act uses broad language to prohibit willfully entering, damaging, and obstructing, interrupting, or to interfering with critical infrastructure. Those little funny words. Which is defined under the Act as including highways, railways, oil sand sites, mines, and more. The law also extends to the land on which essential infrastructure is located, and any land used in connection with the essential infrastructure. So why are people concerned? Even before the Act had officially come into force, Albertans were raising the alarm bells. In a piece published on AB Law, lawyers and professors Jennifer Koshin, Lisa Silver, and Johnette Watson-Hamilton raised concerns the Act could violate charter rights of freedom of expression, freedom of peaceful assembly, freedom of association, the right to liberty, and the right to equality. expanding the act under COVID-19. On September 28th, 2021, Alberta announced it would expand the reach of critical infrastructure to include hospitals and other health facilities following a wave of protest against COVID-19 vaccinations. And honestly, this one's I don't feel bad about. I do consider hospitals to be critical infrastructure in a lot of ways. And extending it to protect those sounds like a good thing, although it's the other stuff that I'm not a fan of. And also, we haven't done shit about this because we still have people who are protesting outside of our hospitals and trying to blockade hospitals and stuff. At least as far as I understand things, I haven't been to the hospital. But during COVID, absolutely, there was the fucking truck nuts were out. They were screaming about how healthcare workers were shit devils from Satan's bum, and they all wanted to have consensual sex with Justin Trudeau and all this shit. You know, this shit that they do. A court challenge, Alberta Union of Public Employees, which is a union of public employees. I guess that didn't need saying, did it? Launched a legal challenge against the act less than a week before it came into force, or after it came into force. The union argued the act violates charter rights, including freedom of expression, assembly, and freedom of association, and that the language in the act is vague and broad. However, the Alberta Court of Appeal refused to grant the AUPE standing and struck out the union's statement of claim. Big shock. It's not appropriate to attempt to adjudicate the constitutionality of the Critical Infrastructure Defense Act based merely on hypotheticals, the court said, which is funny because that's the whole concept of this law is hypotheticals. It is protecting against a hypothetical threat, at least if you take it at face value, a hypothetical threat of terrorism attacking critical infrastructure. Cool. Anyways, so that's sort of the short and skinny of it. Essentially, when the media was covering it, they were talking a lot about how roads were going to be considered critical infrastructure. And what that essentially means is that you could be charged with trespassing on roads if you were involved in a protest that was on a road. And the nebulous language is my big concern about it, because let's face it, if you don't have a clear definition, like, again, I get that the grid makes sense to be considered critical infrastructure, and those particular things that are physical sites that are in support of the grid should be protected in order to ensure that people have access to electricity and all that kind of stuff. And yes, again, we're talking nanny state, and I'm a monster because I'm saying that the government needs to protect our things instead of being a good anarchist. But we're in a world where there are people who are like, we should blow shit up. We should blow up the grid and cause problems, right? It's easy to imagine all of the positive change that we want in a world where everyone just is good, but not everyone's good. So that's a thing. The concept of critical infrastructure is something I support. The implementation and the nebulousness is my concern. If roads, or it talks about telephone wires and the land thereon, does that mean that you cannot have a protest that is on, pardon me, does that mean that you can't have a protest that is on land with telephone poles? Because there's a lot of those. If you have a pipeline running underneath, say, underneath a road, does that mean that road you can be arrested for protesting on? Again, this sounds like paranoid delusion. I totally get that. But here's the thing. The dry in the air is killing my allergies. Sexy. It sounds like paranoid fantasy, except that this law was brought in when Indigenous people were doing protests against what would be considered critical infrastructure. Although one would easily be able to argue that Coastal GasLink wasn't critical infrastructure in itself because it was a new development, or so you would think. But I believe that what they were doing was they were, I don't think it was it might have been a new pipeline, but I think they were twinning it. And so that means that there's existing pipeline that they're adding capacity to. And that would mean that existing pipeline would be critical infrastructure in those terms. So this is my problem with it. You can come up with an important term like critical infrastructure, which I do think exists. I do think the power grid, hospitals, the highway system to some degree. One could argue if one was all capitalisty that the railway is critical infrastructure, that kind of stuff. But like a mine, how is a mine critical infrastructure? I'm pretty sure that a mine is a space that is essentially owned by a corporation or leased by a corporation or whatever for the purposes of exploiting it. And that sounds like a private company having to watch their own shit, as opposed to, you know, like if a mine was to be disabled by mean-spirited people. I'm getting text messages now. If a mine was to be dismantled by mean-spirited people, in some way prevented from functioning, how would that affect the nation or the province or the whatever the group may be, right? If the electrical grid is disrupted, that directly affects the life, liberty, and happiness of people who are suddenly potentially freezing to death or what have you, or putting a undue burden on the healthcare system because now they have to run off generators and who knows how long they can do that, and all this kind of, like, you know, there's very valid answers to why it would be bad to blow up the grid. But a mine, I don't get it. So why would that be critical infrastructure? Could it be that it's because a large mining corporation was talking about wanting to start doing some mining in our mountains? Could it be that this is a protection for big industry over the rights of people to protest them? I kind of feel like it is. It seems strangely timed that we had a whole bunch of indigenous people protesting against the Coastal GasLink project, and not just in the Wet'suwet'en territory, but there were protests all over the country in support of the Wet'suwet'en protesters. And all of a sudden, Alberta's like, we need a law that says you can't be on critical infrastructure. Now again, it seems like I'm perhaps splitting hairs, but I am. And that's okay. Because the problem is, much like what we were talking about earlier, definitions are broad and sometimes a little bit too vague. And being able to actively talk about where those lines are is kind of an important part of the process. So if you've got this nebulous concept of critical infrastructure, what does that mean? Well, here's me going all ridiculous, and I totally get that this is me being ridiculous. What is a pipeline? A pipeline is a series of connected tubes, presumably, that move stuff. Bender, how you doing? Long time no see. Would you believe just last week, Sugar was on and was like, "Where's Bender at? It is good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the stream." Yeah, like pipeline would be a series of tubes that stuff goes through. And all of it is, you know, if it's critical, it's super important stuff going through, right? And so we think about oil, because that's what we do here in Alberta. But how is that any different than the sewer system, right? The management of human waste is a thing that is critical to people surviving. Yeah, but it's been a long overdue to return. Well, you're always welcome, and your absence is felt, but you're never obligated to be here. You know I love you, Bender, and I hope things are going well. I hope you're doing great, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, no, we're good. Yeah, right. So a sewer system, you could argue that a sewer system is absolutely vital. So if the law protects the resources upon which the sewer system applies, then it goes into our homes. It goes underneath our homes. It goes throughout all of our city streets. All of a sudden, this nebulous wording becomes really problematic. Now, I am being intentionally over the top over how this could be interpreted, but I'm not wrong. That's why the nebulous language is bad. That's why this is a danger, Will Robinson, because it's bad law. Now, in Alberta, we're good at bad law. Right? The Sovereignty Act that our current premier wants to put through, which basically will be like, hey, you know what's awesome? Not having a constitution, not having a charter of rights and freedoms, not having any kind of, just not doing any of that shit. Where does that all come from? That comes from currying favor with some very, 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 we love bad laws here. We're currying favor with the worst people in our society. The people who have gotten sucked up into this whole, like, QAnon, trucker convoy bullshit fantasy land, that their voices are more important, right? I think it starts with transfer payments. I really do. Transfer payments was, like, the thing that made everybody all pissy for the longest time. It's one thing that Albertans have to, accept the fact that they're being told by the government that they have to provide health care for people and abortions for people. Like, that's just, that's a bridge too far for many. But the concept of transfer payments is socialism. When I say transfer payments, if you're not from here, essentially all of the provinces take money and give money depending on their need into this pool. It's called transfer payments. And where I live in Alberta, we have historically for at least, I don't know how long, but at least as long as I can remember, we have been a major giver and not a major receiver into this pool. Now, why is that? Because we had oil, and oil was good and making lots of money. And so by some fluke of geography, we ended up having a very wealthy province. And it makes sense to me that if you have a province that has a whole bunch of money, you can shave some of that off and share the wealth with the provinces that don't have as much money. Provinces like Newfoundland that have historically relied primarily on fishing and similar kinds of industries that are nowhere near as financially successful as what oil was back at, in the day, and still is, but you know what I'm saying. The more that people saw that, the more they were like, well, this isn't fair. We're working really hard as a province, which is not true. Much like the billionaire myth, we're not as a province working harder than Newfoundland. We're probably working a lot less than Newfoundland because they have to fucking hustle to make them fish come in. But we just go, hey, stuck a thing in the ground and out came some oil. I'm going to sell it and make a shit ton of money. That's cheating, really. But we earned this money somehow, and therefore it should stay with us and not ever go to help anyone else, because at our core, Alberta is a conservative place, and that means that at our core, Alberta is a selfish bunch of whiny, entitled pricks. At least those that are in power, who tend to be white males with privilege and financial privilege. So they don't like transfer payments. And the more that they start talking about, well, we want to stop doing that because we want to keep all of the money for ourselves. And every time oil and gas goes through a problematic phase where the price dips or whatever, we like to get our shit all bunged up and be like, yeah, see, the government doesn't care about us when we're in need. And they don't. It's important to note. But also, we have money. We will survive this. If the price of fish goes down, Newfoundland's probably in a lot of trouble. If the price of oil goes down, well, Alberta's got a huge amount of money just sitting around in the province because these big companies have their money. And if they have to take a little bit of a hit, so fucking be it, right? Now, I'm not 100% on board with that. I do think that there are times where we've had real threats to the livelihood of Albertans that have not been addressed by the federal government and have in fact been actively like, hey, what are you gonna do about it, huh? You fucking guys. And that is shitty, and I get the anger over that, and I support the anger over that. But that doesn't mean that transfer payments don't make sense or are bad. right? Transfer payments are good. So they start with transfer payments and they go get all pissy about, you're taking our money. This is big government stealing from us. When really this is an agreement that we've all come into as part of our foundational concept to share the wealth a little bit. Not in a horrible, monstrous, socialist nightmare world of enjoy your Victory brand cigarette, but in terms of like, okay, well, you're making a bunch of money, just shave a little bit off and help out those that don't. Good Christian values, which should appeal to the right here. And then from there, they start talking about how the government never listens to us. Because Alberta is an economic powerhouse, but population-wise, far smaller than most other provinces. Particularly the provinces of Quebec and Ontario, where most of the power exists, because also most of the population exists. In a democracy with representation, it only makes sense that they would have more representation if they have more bodies. But that's just silly talk, right? Albertans get real pissy about that. And again, with some credibility. There's been plenty of times where decisions have been made that are to the detriment of Albertans, but to the betterment of people in Quebec or Ontario, for example, that feel very unfairsies. That's legit. But also, fuck your hat. People who feel, hurt people, Mama always said. And people who feel hurt by these kinds of things, or at least, impacted by them, love to echo chamber the shit out of that, right? If you look at the carbon tax, like the carbon tax is a great example. I do know people who are, for example, truckers who were a little bit hurt by the carbon tax. I don't think they were substantially hurt by it, certainly not as much as they say that they were hurt by it. But there's no denying that a carbon tax is going to increase fuel costs, which probably affects people who, by nature of their jobs, have to go through a lot of fuel. Also, it's not like there's electric cars that do long-haul trucking. That's not a thing that's real, at least as far as I'm aware. So that's not even an option. So they're being punished for their job, and I get that pissiness. But by and large, a carbon tax is really a non-issue for most people. Most consumers will not feel the effect of a carbon tax, but they want to. Hey, I have a new follower, J Draws. Hey, welcome, J Draws. Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, where was I going? Carbon tax. It's kind of a non-thing. There are people who will get really upset about it, and more power to them. I get it. But at the end of the day, a carbon tax is sort of a necessary punitive measure to inspire people to move the fuck away from oil and gas, which we need to do for a variety of reasons. Even if you don't believe that the climate is changing, which it fucking is, sorry about your luck. If you don't believe that, that's cool. But there's other reasons, right? The oil and gas is becoming rare. This is because we've tapped a lot of it, right? The Western Canadian Sedimentary Basin, where I live, not in the basin, but I live in the area where that exists. And it has been heavily developed for the last 50 years, something like that. And we're starting to see that we're needing to do things like being open to SAGD or fracking or whatever in order to get access to oil more efficiently now. Because it's not as easy. In the 70s, you could literally just like stick a fucking drill in the ground and be like, yeah, maybe we're going to get oil. Oh, look, we did. There was actually a thing that I heard once, and again, I don't know if this is valid or not, but apparently some statistical analysis was done comparing the success of Alberta oil companies in exploration for oil to a child with a dart and a map of Alberta. And right up until like the mid-70s, the child was more accurate. Throw a dart, hit a spot, and be like, yeah, there's oil there. that's kind of funny. Now we've come a long way because of necessity, because finding oil has become harder and existing oil reserves eventually deplete. So we've become better at looking for oil through things like sound waves and all that kind of shit. And we find oil and we go, yay, we can make money here. And then we have oil wells that eventually start to become less productive. And that's where people come in with technologies like SAGD or fracking or whatever to change the way that we're getting the oil out and be more efficient. That should be a fucking warning sign that that this is starting to happen more and more, means that we're having a harder time finding fucking oil. So if we pretend like oil is just fine and there's no climate change involved, it's still going away. That's not good. If we rely on this thing, it's bad that it's going away. Now, you know who has a lot of oil is the OPEC plus countries. How's that working out for us? It's probably pretty poor. All we're going to do is piss Mama Earth off. Yeah, absolutely. And things like fracking. I'm not sure about SAGD. I don't know enough about the steam-assisted process to know whether it's a reasonable thing or not. I literally know nothing about it. But fracking bad. Fracking involves a lot of very dangerous work. We actually just were suing the Canadian government, or the Alberta government. Not me personally, but someone has put through a lawsuit against the Alberta government trying to prevent fracking from... Oh, it was AltaGas. AltaGas? No. It was one of the organizations like that are like, you can't go fracking or putting in mines just willy-nilly, because it turns out that you can cause serious tectonic issues and other things that will be bad. So don't do that. Hopefully these kinds of measures will actually have an impact and prevent some of the stupid, because the current conservative government that we have here in Alberta is just like hard as fuck when it comes to, like, we need to have jobs, we need to have economy growth. That is the only thing that matters. So they're suddenly opening up, or trying to open up, mining in protected areas and drilling for oil in areas that we probably shouldn't be drilling for oil for. And like, mining is not even a thing that I've thought much about as an Albertan. But probably every 3 to 6 months, I get a phone call from some headhunter who is saying, hey, we have a really great job that's perfect for your skill set. How would you like to come work for this Australian company? I think they're called Tech Resources. How would you like to come work for Tech Resources as a guy who does what you do? And I, the first time I didn't know anything about them, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to search them. And they're a mining company. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're a mining company from Australia who are wanting to set up shop in Alberta and are wanting to just basically mine the fuck out of the Rocky Mountains and in environmental bad ways. It's crazy to think, instead of adapting to nature, we're making nature adapt to us. Yeah, and that will only end well. I'm certain of it. There's no reason to think that Mother Nature is not just going to lie down and be like, yeah, you go ahead and you do your thing. I heard, and I don't know if there's any validity to this, but I heard that there's like viruses that have been frozen in ice that are now out and people are getting sick from, thanks to global warming. Again, I don't know if that's valid or not, but this kind of shit is real, right? Ebola as a virus, again, if I understand correctly, Ebola was essentially a non-thing, because we didn't encounter it. Ebola existed in places where humans generally didn't go. And the thing about Ebola is it's kind of hard for it to become like a serious problem, because it's just so darn good at killing people that you really don't have the opportunity to spread it much. If it's in remote area, you become exposed to the virus, you get sick, you only have a limited fucking shelf life of when you can interact with other people. And again, if you're in a remote area, maybe you wipe out your entire, village, which is bad, but it's probably really difficult for it to effectively spread in a way that would cause like a pandemic or something. But then we started making those remote areas less remote because of industry and the old capitalism joy. And all of a sudden, things become different, right? If it's not just some, like, there's a virus in this random spot in the middle of fucking nowhere, and someone gets it and they infect their 3 people that live in their village and they all die, well, that sucks. Versus, well, we're doing industry in the area, so we're sending in teams, and one of those teams got sick, and they're sick, but that's a shame. But the other team came in and replaced them that night. Now they're sick, but they also went home, to be with their families. And one of them had a meeting with the big boss for the company. He was flown in to see the product or the production process, and they had their meeting. And now the big boss for the company is sick, and he immediately got on a plane and he went back to the headquarters where he got the entire organization sick. And it's an organization of 10,000 people, and 300 of them have jobs where they're interacting with other people in other companies who also have the kinds of jobs where they're interacting with. Like, that's how shit spreads. It's bad when we start finding out this kind of shit. And we're finding it out because we're going places we probably have never been before. I don't know. That's just me babbling. Anyways, the whole concept is ridiculous. The Sovereignty Act is stupid. The Critical Infrastructure Act is dangerous because it is nebulous. The Sovereignty Act is nebulous. Now, admittedly, we haven't seen the Sovereignty Act yet, I don't believe, because it's just fun words from our premier going, when she was leading up to the election that wasn't an election that put her in power. And she brought it up as like, we're going to make a Sovereignty Act. And don't think the language is at all concerning, right? Sovereignty sounds good, but we're already sovereign in many aspects. What does it mean to be sovereign? Well, now we're waiting on Danielle to share that little puff of knowledge with us. I keep checking for some sort of documentation on it. Not official so far. Yeah, I've looked a couple times too, and I haven't seen anything. And I think the plan is that she wants to finish drafting it and table it for when either later this year or into. I would bet that what she's going to do is start talking about it more and more as we're leading up to it's March or May when we have our next provincial election, and this will be the crowning gem of why you should vote Danielle Smith. My guess is that that's what's going to happen. Is we're going to end up with it will be an election issue, much like we see in every election. There's always we have this thing that everybody's talking about, but we're not going to show you until season 2, baby. Yeah, we're going to have a cliffhanger at the end of season 1. That's my bet. But frankly, it's just the language is concerning, right? The use of the word sovereign, to me, my brain immediately goes sovereign citizens, because those people are here and they're wackadoozies. I don't like that shit. That shit is creepy. All right, I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to go do a thing real quick. I should put on something so that y'all can hear things while I'm gone. What do I want to... I'm going to play some of my cheeseball music, but I'm going to put speech. Let's see if we can find a good check me sing speech. Someone's knocking at my door. Okay, I'm gonna do this and this and this, and I will be back.
Thank you very much, my friends. Thank you so much. Oh man, the love is real. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate the love. Merci infiniment pour votre présence, votre implication. C'est vraiment un honneur d'être ici parmi vous. Merci pour tout ce que vous avez fait. Merci. My friends, before I go any further, I want to acknowledge the traditional territories that we're gathered upon. The unceded Coast Salish territories of the Squamish, the Tsleil-Waututh, the Musqueam, the Quequecum, the First Nations. My friends, this has been an incredible night. It's been an incredible campaign, an incredible journey, and it is such an amazing honor to be home here in British Columbia with all of you. I also want to take a moment to congratulate Mr. Trudeau and the Liberal Party for their evening's results. I want to congratulate them for being Prime Minister. And I spoke with Mr. Trudeau, the Prime Minister, earlier tonight, and I let him know that we'll be working hard on making sure we deliver the priorities that Canadians have, that all of you have. We're going to make sure that the energy that we built over this campaign, the excitement that we built, and the focus that we put on people's struggles continues, and so that we can play a constructive and positive role in the new parliament that Canadians have chosen. I want you to know, this is always going to be our focus. When we get back to Ottawa, every single day that we're in Parliament, you Democrats are going to be working hard to make sure your life is better, so that Canadians' life is better, so that people's life are better. I also want to congratulate the other leaders, the parties, Mr. Scheer, Ms. May, and Mr. Blanchet. I want to congratulate anyone who allowed their name to stand for any party. It's a tough thing to do, and I want to thank you all. I got to tell you, I'm really proud to have been able to lead a team that is the most diverse, that represented women, that represented LGBTQ. This team was one of the most caring and the most diverse team that we've been able to run, and I'm so honored to be able to lead that team. And I want to thank the tens of thousands of volunteers that came out to support our campaigns and our teams across this country. There are far too many people for me to name. I'm sure you can imagine that. But I'm just going to name just a couple. First off, someone who's been beside me, by my side throughout this journey, throughout this adventure. My wife, my life partner, Kitten. She stole the show once already. I would love for her to steal the show again.
All right, I am back. I'm gonna get the thing off my face, and then I'll deal with the stuff.
My family, my brother, my mom.
There we go. All right. Hey, I'm back. It's good to be back. All right, so I had talked about critical infrastructure and stuff like that. I'm going to move on to the thing I was going to talk about next, which is the Queen of Canada. So I had never heard of the Queen of Canada prior to the convoy folk. Yes, Queen Dildo. The convoy folk, I mean, that was a whole fucking unique bit of Canadian time. But it was surreal to me to see that we had a queen. I mean, I knew at the time we had a queen. Now we have a king because Lizzie popped her clogs. But apparently there's a second Queen of Canada that I was blissfully unaware of. Walking around thinking we had a king like a fucking idiot when all of a sudden there's a queen. And I have referenced her a couple of times, but I know literally nothing about her. I know she's a QAnoner. I know she's a fascie, and I know that she's not really the queen. But we're gonna find out because I don't know. So, in talking about Danielle Smith a couple weeks ago, I went to Wikipedia first, and there was a comment that came up. 1 minute in, and he's suddenly going to Wikipedia. Thanks, but I'll pass. And I'm like, okay, fine, fuck you. Which I found funny because the whole purpose of my going to Wikipedia, I know about Danielle Smith, and I wanted a timeline to work through, and Wikipedia did that. Oh, dude, she's wild. The veggies and sardines. Okay, I don't know what that means, but we're going to find out, apparently. All right, so let's pop open our web browser. And so first and foremost, I thought we should look at her webpage. This is the webpage, thekingdomofcanada.ca. Watch coffee chats with Queen Romana and Press Secretary Darlene something or other. I don't know. Her Majesty Queen Romana Didulo of the Kingdom of Canada. This is the new Canadian flag. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but now it says God loves you on the Canadian flag because we are a Christian nation, apparently. This is the Queen, La Reina. And this, I think, is our new Queen of Canada coat of arms or something. Oh, I can't click on it. That would just be a thing that you would expect. Her Royal Highness, Her Royal Majesty, Queen Romana Didulo, Head of State and Commander-in-Chief, Head of Government, National Indigenous Chief, President, and Queen of the Kingdom of Canada. God loves you. So she has a bunch of royal decrees and live stream videos and photos and stuff. We can follow her on Telegram, which is exactly what I would expect of any good world leader to be just on Telegram. There's a discussion page. This is all Telegram shit. I clicked on Q&A because I was like, oh, well, I'll just, see what kind of Q&A has happened. It's not on the website. It's on her Telegram, and I did not feel the need to join. That's a photo of her hugging a child. So, that's good. Worldwide Peace and Prosperity Tour. This is a tour that she went on. Notice at the bottom of this great photo of them in what I'm assuming are the Canadian Rockies. WWG1WGA. That's a little QAnon. Where we go one, we go all. So she's clearly healthy in the brain. That was the Kingdom of Canada's Royal Mobile Government Team. And almost surprisingly, you can donate money to the Queen because obviously the Queen has expenses, and that's a thing that you would want to donate money to. The RV she's in right now was allegedly stolen too, or so I heard. Someone rented it to her and she never returned it. That sounds very sovereign citizen-y. So the sovereign citizens have this whole shtick about they'll rent a place and then refuse to pay rent and refuse to leave and explain that the legal contract that was signed with the corporation and not them because they put their name in all caps and shit. It's all one big clusterfuck of beauty. But let's take a look at you know what, I'm gonna do the Wikipedia thing. We're gonna go. I should probably just search Wikipedia. And we're going to look for, what's her name? What is her name? Queen Romana. Romana Didulo, sorry. So, according to Wikipedia, just to get the very beginning stuff. is a Canadian influencer, pretender, so that's definitely unbiased. A pretender is someone who claims to be the rightful ruler of the country, although not currently recognized as such by any current government. So that's actually a true definition. And conspiracy theorist who proclaimed herself to be the Queen of Canada and later Queen of the World. Oh, I didn't know she was Queen of the World. That's a good promotion, right? I mean, I'm struggling to make sure that I get cost of living increases, and she just took over the world. That's pretty impressive. She promotes pseudo-law theories derived from the sovereign citizen movement, and is one of the most prominent figures of the QAnon movement in Canada. Details about Digilo's early life are not well documented. She immigrated from the Philippines to Canada at a young age, roughly 30 years ago. She claims on her website that she emigrated when she was 15 after losing both of her parents, and that she first came to the United States with her uncle. From the early 2000s, Digilo started a number of unsuccessful business ventures. She said in one of her live streams that she was homeless at some point and slept on the floor in her friend's nail salon. She eventually became immersed in online conspiracy theories. Because that's the thing, online conspiracy theories are fantastic. If you're someone who sees yourself as great, but is also not living great, conspiracies are there to prove to you that it's someone else's fault. It's not yours. Digilo's public persona underwent a series of rapid changes since she started producing video interventions in 2020. Leader of a non-registered political party called Canada First. Again, we talked about this last week. Last week. Anytime you see something first or something proud or something like that, it's probably tipping the hat to the Nazis. To head of state of a Canadian republic to Queen of Canada with high-level extraterrestrial connections. She gained followers in 2021 after being endorsed by popular QAnon influencers. She claims her power is backed up by a secret faction within the American military, a common QAnon trope. According to Vice.com reporter Mark Lemereau, Digilo's rise in popularity among QAnon adherents was made possible by the fact that Q, the movement's originator, went silent in late 2020. This allowed Digilo to step into the power vacuum. Digilo lives in BC. However, in 2022, she began traveling to various parts of Canada with a small group of supporters, receiving significant donations to fund her tour. According to those who traveled with her, Digilo exhibits authoritarian and abusive behavior toward members of her team, with experts warning this fits some of the signifiers of a cult-like behavior. Some volunteers who quit or simply displeased her were threatened with execution. Several of her former followers organized into a group that monitors her activities, warning communities she's traveling to. So, conspiracy theories and links to the sovereign citizen movement. Because of her frequent calls for violent action and her proven ability to incite her followers to take concrete actions on her behalf, she's been identified as one of the most dangerous QAnon influencers in Canada by researchers following the movement. Digilo gained notoriety during the COVID-19 pandemic by demanding that all vaccines be destroyed and promoting various conspiracy theories are common to the QAnon universe. In response to her exhortations, some of her followers expressed the desire to violently attack healthcare professionals and public officials. Digilo made a number of unsubstantiated claims, such as the claim that she's an extraterrestrial with access to secret New Age healing technology, that she has abolished utility bills or other debts, and has ended an adrenochrome extraction in Canada, which, that was a huge industry here in Canada. Like everywhere you go, there's like an adrenochrome factory. It's I'd say it was terrible, but fuck kids, right? Am I right? To effectuate these claims, Digilo has issued a number of what she calls decrees, supposedly outlawing various actions by governments and financial institutions. She urges her followers to use pseudo-legal documents using language developed by the sovereign citizen movement to avoid paying debts or to pressure businesses into dropping public health measures. A large number of businesses, schools, and others received cease and desist documents. Several creditors have taken legal actions against her followers, in several cases leaving them at risk of losing their homes. Detained by the police or by the RCMP, and subjected to psychiatric evaluation after she incited her followers to shoot to kill healthcare providers who vaccinated minors against COVID-19. This was another good one, was the attempted mass arrest in Peterborough. A group of roughly 30 of her followers attempted to enter the headquarters of the Peterborough, Ontario Police in an attempt to seize police officers in what they characterized as a citizen's arrest for COVID crimes. She did not participate aside from addressing the demonization. The demonstration from a vehicle parked nearby. Despite her claims, no military forces appeared to help detain the police officers. The confrontation with officers resulted in 6 demonstrators being arrested. She later attempted to distance herself from that incident by claiming during one of her live streams that she'd been present in Peterborough as an observer and not a participant. So, I think we're getting a taste of who she is. Let's take a look then at her royal decrees, because I'm curious. Okay, can I even read this? I'm worried about if I zoom in. Yeah, it's gonna go full screen and be stupid, which doesn't help anything at all. I guess I could. Hang on, let me see. I think I have a window that we can use. If I use this and I say random window is going to be the royal decrees, and we're going to... give me 1 sec, folks. This could theoretically work. I just have to get a screen that we can use. Okay. Click on the full screen thing. Was that like another window? No, it was not another window. Okay. Sorry, this is annoying. I suck at being an online entertainer. Okay, and then I can go full screen. I don't know. We'll see if that's working. It's not. But I can. Okay, I got a plan. Give me 1 more second, and this will be a little bit more manageable. Okay, we're getting somewhere, I promise. All right, we'll go with that. All right, let me fade over. That's sort of partway legible-ish. I see I have... my favorite online entertainer. Thank you, James Bond. It's good to see you, my friend. All right, we're gonna do some royal decrees. This is number 1. So this is the first royal decree she made. We're not going to go through all of them. There's like 171 pages here, and we're not doing that. But Her Majesty, I am Queen Romana at Romana Digiolo, head of state and commander-in-chief, head of government, queen and president. Race theory in Canada 2.0. Effective today, race theory in Canada is unlawful, or hashtag unlawful. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Maybe that'll be... No, apparently I can't zoom in. That would just be... That's how the communists win, folks. It's how the communists win. And that's now going to be way too big. But now, if I go to a different view, that might actually be a thing that works. No, it's not going to be. Okay. Well, trust me as we go through this. Effective today, race theory in Canada is hashtag unlawful. All private and public daycare centers, preschool facilities, K-12, trade schools, colleges, universities, military schools, military barracks, and libraries. All textbooks, digital and hard copies / other teaching methodologies with reference to race theory are to be removed and hashtag destroyed, effective immediately. Promotion, dissemination, and selling of race theory materials in any form in Canada and to Canadians is hashtag unlawful. The penalty for violating this royal decree involves revocation of business licenses, immediate closure of said business facilities, and a hashtag minimum of 30 years hashtag imprisonment without bail or parole. Peace and prosperity or perish. I don't play politics. Her Royal Majesty, Queen Romana Didulo. So that went weird. That's an example of one of Queen Didulo's decrees. So let's try and dig a little bit into who Queen Didulo really be, because I don't know. Obviously, I have my belief that Romana Didulo is a wackadoo. Let's see. I was gonna put on a video also. She has a video on YouTube. Maybe we'll get to that. So this is fairly recent. This is October 20th, so like a couple weeks ago. QAnon Queen touring Nova Scotia in an RV that owners want back, claiming Fiona damage conspiracy. That last part, claiming Fiona damage a conspiracy. So, QAnon Queen touring Nova Scotia, claiming Fiona damage a conspiracy. That is a sentence that makes sense. Okay, it confused me for a second. Just weirdly structured. So this is an RV belonging to a woman who calls herself Queen Romana Didulo outside of the Port Hawkesbury Civic Centre along with some of her followers. A woman who claims to be the rightful Queen of Canada, along with an entourage of followers, is touring Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, claiming that post-tropical storm Fiona's damage is widely exaggerated as part of a grand conspiracy. Her Royal Highness Queen Romana Didulo, as she is known to her about 55,000 followers on her social media platform Telegram, is touring Atlantic Canada in a convoy of 3 large recreational and passenger vehicles. These fucking people love convoy. Like, convoy is their game. As of Thursday morning, they were in Sydney Mines, Cape Breton, having already toured through Antigonish, with a stop at the Jimtown Beach, not to be confused with Jonestown, during which she declared in social media posts that there was no significant damage from Fiona, which tore through the Atlantic region beginning the morning of September 24th with hurricane-force winds and driving rain. Yes, all the brainworms. Welcome, Maria. When you remove the sensationalism, the fake studio images choreographed, remember a fake news anchor who said it's knee-deep down here. Here is reality. Yeah, Didulo told her followers in a live stream on Telegram from Jimtown Beach. A lot of trees fell down here, but oh shit, I'm hitting the wrong button. But we have not seen any damages, unless some of the trees fell on some of the houses, which we cannot see up there. During a Tuesday video of tour of Antigonish, which suffered significant damage from Fiona, she noted that if there had been trees down, she would have seen stumps. So this is an image of damaged homes and debris scattered everywhere coming out of Porto Basque NL, New Lunswick? I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be. Shows the destruction storm Fiona caused in the town. Okay, whatever. Didulo and her followers alternative claim that Fiona's damage was widely exaggerated, that the storm was caused by the government, and that the fundraising efforts by the Red Cross and Tim Hortons, along with government commitments of financial aid, are stealing the money of we the people. Hard to see damage from ivory towers. Very true. Very true. Yeah, we the people is a thing that she does. Like in that proclamation that we just read, she referred to herself as Queen Romana, we the people, and she does that in speaking. She'll refer to herself as we the people, Romana Didulo. Like it's just fucking wacky. All of this shit is wacky, but I'm sure it's tied to that sovereign citizen nonsense. Didulo, who's from British Columbia, is an advocate of the sovereign citizen movement, telling her followers that government has no authority over them and that she has abolished their mortgages and utility bills so they can just stop paying them. She encourages her followers to send cease and desist letters to anyone advocating for vaccines in any way. Christine Sarteshi, associate professor of sociology and criminology at the University of Chatham in Pittsburgh, told Saltwire on Tuesday. There have been thousands of these letters received by those advocating for COVID-19 vaccines, saying if they don't stop, they will face a military tribunal and be executed. Remember, these people claim to talk about freedom. But if you talk about COVID-19, you can be subject to a military tribunal and killed for it. And if you're a healthcare worker who is providing the vaccine to children, then, as we saw earlier, she would very much like it if you were to be a dead person. If you're a cop in Peterborough and you're enforcing COVID rules, then you should be subject to a citizen's arrest and probably military tribunal and execution. So this is mental issues that are just unchecked. Sartishi has been monitoring Digilo's movement, which shares ideology with the QAnon movement that claims that liberal elites are running a global pedophile ring, right? But we the people, banned our adrenochrome production in Canada. So that's pretty good. How can you have a military tribunal if you're a sovereign citizen? Well, see, that's a very good question. She's not a sovereign citizen. She employs the sovereign citizen philosophy, but she is the queen. And so she can do whatever the goddamn fuck shit hell she wants. And she is the ruler of the military, so she can have military tribunals. Very, very freedom-oriented. Asked whether we shouldn't ignore Digilo to avoid fueling her efforts, Sartishi said her followers, along with those of QAnon, often take real-world actions that can't be ignored. On August 13th, dozens of Digilo's followers tried to raid the Peterborough, Ontario Police Department and make citizens arrest of its officers for enforcing COVID-19 protocols. Digilo stayed back in her RV as a violent confrontation ensued that led to 6 of her followers being arrested. According to a Global News report, resulting charges included assaulting a police officer with a weapon, obstructing a police officer, and mischief. And I want to go on the record and say, I don't like police officers. I think they are shitty class traitors. And they are the fist of the status quo, and I have no love for them. That said, showing up to arrest them in your imaginary made-up world where you're the boss of Shit Island, and you just send your little fucking stormtroopers in to start punching people, that's a problem. Like, this all is tied together. All of this sovereign citizen shit, the QAnon shit, the Freedom Convoy shit, all of these, this is the building fascist movement. And our right wing in Canada, in the United States, probably all the other places, don't fucking care. They're not doing anything about it, and it's seriously a problem. QAnon adjacent people are basically playing Calvin ball inside their own heads. Yeah, like it's fucking surreal. Like watching them talk about their philosophies and stuff is it's amazing that these are people who feel like they're onto something, and like in my head I'm just like, dude, like, yeah, you're on something, but you're not onto something. You forget my difference there. During the incident, her followers could be heard alternatively accusing the police of brutality, telling them they were under arrest, and yelling, "We're coming for you." In a live video feed from her followers, to her followers from her RV during the incident, she said that an aircraft was above the police station with Allied Special Forces, and that her followers should remain calm. Here we have Nova Scotia power employees walking down a stretch of Woodlawn Road in Dartmouth that was heavily damaged during post-tropical storm Fiona. The growth of fringe movements acting on beliefs that do not align with reality raises concerns to Sartishi and the future of our... Okay, well, this is just gonna go further into that. So, what are we learning here? I'm gonna say fucking nothing. I want to know how did... You know what? Let's pop back to the Googles. How the fuck did this person become Queen of Canada? How did was it Ramona? Yeah, Romana Digilo become queen? That's a Odyssey. I'm thinking that's a podcast. Okay. We can check this Guardian article and see if it says anything. Oh yes, lend us a hand. Guardian wants money. Claims sovereignty over Canada and it's gaining fame online as trusted roads, blah, 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 blah. on her Telegram channel, she claims that Queen Elizabeth II was executed for crimes against humanity last year. Last year. And that, cool. And that white hats and the U.S. military, together with the global allied troops and their governments, have helped install Digilo as sovereign of the Great White North. She subscribes to a grab bag of fringe views, seems to latch on to conspiracy theaters. A leader will articulate a problem and then provide those solutions, even if that problem doesn't necessarily exist. And that is what she's doing to a group of people who are afraid and who have complete and utter distrust in the institutions of their country. So that's just it. She just basically said one day, hey, they murdered Queen Elizabeth because she's, crimes against humanity, probably for something COVID related, or possibly for adrenochrome crimes. I don't fucking know. And that therefore she was installed as the Queen of Canada. Like, that's just fucking brain broken. How do you think that's a thing that you can just be like, I'm now the queen? A group of people have made me the queen. The fuck? The weirdest part, the world is full of dumbasses. It absolutely fucking is. The weirdest part is most of the Q posts and talking points are extremely USA centric. Oh yeah, 100%. Q is an international thing, sort of tangential way. They talk about the death of Princess Diana, for example, but it's an American cult, and it's really not Canada oriented. Like, in the Queen allegedly has stopped all of our adrenochrome production, which I'm assuming we were selling into the States or something, or maybe just Justin Trudeau's huffing it. I don't know. This shit is so far from healthy. Like, I don't know how you as a person buy into any of this. Like, the first time I ever heard about sovereign citizens was a story in my local paper about a guy who just wasn't paying his rent, refused to pay his rent, was no longer legally obliged to pay his rent, and it was because he was a sovereign citizen, and he had on the lease he wrote his name in small letters or big letters or whatever the fuck, so there's a difference in his mind between the legal corporation that he disavows of his name and the actual him. And since he, the actual him, was not the one who came into the agreement, he is not bound by the agreement, which then makes me go, well, then you're not renting the fucking house and you need to leave when the landlord says get the fuck out. Then that's that. But he wouldn't, and they had to get the sheriffs or some shit to drag him and his nutty buddies out. And it's just fucking amazing to me, and it's everywhere. I've been watching a bunch of videos by the Telltale Atheist, and he's talking, watching clips of, whatever I can't think of the name of the but there's some big Christian evangelist dude who has a TV network in the States, and they have they evangelize on it, and they've come to the idea that Donald Trump is the Son of Man. Now, this is not to be confused with the Son of God. There are two Messiahs in the Bible. Jesus implied that he was the Son of God and the Son of Man, but he obviously wasn't the Son of Man, because the purpose of the Son of Man is to usher in the revelation. And that's not what Jesus was there for. He was there to forgive us of our sins, which is the job of the Son of God. And therefore Trump is the Son of Man, and his appearance is proof that we are at the end times. And it's like these are not healthy minds, but they're not uncommon. Like that world is huge. These are people with 100,000 followers on their ministry pages and huge mega churches and shit. And it's how is this the fucking world? How are we this stupid as a society? And how does this kind of shit flourish? How does the sovereign citizen thing happen? You just decide one day, oh, I'm going to be covered by maritime law instead. No, you don't get to do that. Trump didn't even pretend to care about religion until like 10 years ago. Yeah, he literally, even when he was president in the beginning, he didn't give a fuck about the religious people. But then he recognized that there was a huge voter base to be courted with them, and he started on all his faith journey. He's not a good man. He was on Epstein Island, and it wasn't to spy. He was there to fuck children. I mean, I can't prove that because I was not there, but I'm pretty confident he wasn't going for the golf. Trump is a fucking monster, and to imply that he is some divine chariot of the Lord to bring about the next goodness in the fuck no, that just doesn't make any goddamn sense. And I would say that the people these people all made prophecies, not all of them, but a huge number of them made prophecies that he was going to win in 2020. And then he didn't, which right then and there should be the thing where you're like, hey, maybe you're a shit prophet. Maybe you aren't good at prophesying. Maybe you should get a job. But that didn't stop them. And they just have concocted this thing about how, it was God's plan that he win. And God told him that he was going to win. And then fucking Joseph Robinette Satan Biden with the dark horde of evil Satan demons stole the election. This is a theological battle. That is bad. The last time I can think of a theological battle being waged on this level was Pat McNamara being an evangelical and being like, communism forces people to live in the darkness without the light of God, and therefore it is the work of Satan, and I, as Secretary of State, am going to wipe it out. You take care, Bender. It was a pleasure, my friend. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you again soon in the real meat space. When we tie our ideology to our politics, shit goes south. Shit goes south hard. It's bigger and bigger conspiracies to deal with the fact that Trump's presidency kind of sucked for everyone, but the core of his inner circle, sunk cost fallacy and all that. We're about to see the same stuff with Elon soon. Yeah, Papa Elon is setting himself up in I don't know whether he's setting himself up for greatness or total destruction. More likely, he's somehow going to manage to fall upwards because that's been his life. And I kind of feel like, you know that phrase, too big to fail? They used to talk about how IBM as an organization was too big to fail. Banks are too big to fail. Elon Musk is too big to fail. He has too much money, even after the Twitter purchase, that he can never really be poor. I'm sure it could happen, but it's just fantastically unlikely. And there's this desire in our society for people to be in on the big secret, and to we see these conspiracies and to be in on all this shit, and it's weird to me. I don't get me wrong, I do believe that there are such things as legitimate conspiracies. I just don't believe in faking a moon landing, or that it was actually Princess Di who killed JFK or some shit, or that Princess Di faked her death so that she and JFK Jr. could lead, or JFK, I don't know, one of the Kennedys who also faked his death can rise up and bring about the Q dream. Anytime I read stuff about these movements, I'm just literally you're fucking stupid. You don't understand the world. You don't understand anything. You're grasping at fucking straws. And then they keep believing it. And they think that this is going to happen. That memorandum of understanding from the fucking convoy folk was pretty fucking clear. It basically said, hey, what we're going to do, see, so we're going to form a little convoy, see, we're going to drive up to fucking Ontario, see, and we're going to basically dethrone the government. And we're going to replace the government with the Governor General and the Senate, both of whom are appointed, and this group that we'll make from our own crew of citizens who will be the third part of government. These people talk about freedom. Remember, it was a freedom convoy, and the core of it was to get rid of democracy and implant themselves as the God Kings. And what kind of stuff do we see those God Kings doing? Oh, I don't know, talking about military tribunals and executions for people who disagree with them. Yeah, that sounds like freedom. That smells freedom-y to me. I get the waft of freedom. Nothing beats the smell of freedom in the fucking morning. I'm literally gobsmacked. Every time people like, don't get me wrong, every single movement will have some stuff about it that's right. Jordan Peterson writes a book and it says clean your room, it's good for your brain. He's not wrong. That just means that he's right about cleaning a room, not got anything to do with trans rights. The Bible says some good shit. The Bible says some bad shit. You can look at anything and go, well, there's some good stuff there and there's some bad stuff there. I'm gonna personally take the good stuff and run with it. The bad stuff, I'm not gonna hang my hat on that too hard. But these are people who like, they see one piece of something that makes sense to them, and then they're just all in, and they just fucking go. And all these conspiracies like build and feed on themselves. Conspiracies are the realization of the hubris of those who can't deal with life's reality. Yeah, I that's actually entirely accurate. If you were raised to believe that your mom is a special little boy and Jesus has a plan for you and you're going to do great things in the world, and then you don't, you look for an excuse. You look for a reason, right? And you never look inside. You never go, well, maybe I'm not that special. You're like, I'm not. I'm not particularly special. And I'm okay with that, right? I'm good at what I do, and I try to be a good person and all that kind of shit. But at the end of the day, like, I'm no better than anyone else. I was raised with that philosophy that I was, mama's little special boy, and God had a plan for me, and I was going to do great things. We've talked about this a bunch of times. And, I saw myself in that kind of light. And then I had to grow up and go, you know what, maybe I'm not. I can still be a fucking awesome person. I can still be a good human being who cares about the people around him and does good in the world. But maybe I'm not going to be president. Maybe I'm not going to be Prime Minister, Big Ugly Jim. Although the world would obviously be better if I was. Maybe I'm not going to, save the world. Maybe I'm going to do much smaller stuff. And maybe that's all right. And these are people who are like, when confronted by their own limitations, they can't look internally. So they look outside. Whether it's, well, the problem is that there's a conspiracy because of my white skin to keep me down and bend me under the boot thumb. The multiculturalists and the degenerates and the globalists are stopping me from achieving my greatness. Or if it's that, they look at our society and go, well, Justin Trudeau specifically hates everything. And if he just stopped doing the things that he's doing, which I don't really understand or know about, but if he stopped doing those things, then I'd be doing better. It's Justin Trudeau's fault. It's always someone else's fault. And that's what the conspiracy is about. It's about finding proof that you're still God's special little snowflake. Like the balls on someone to just be like, yeah, I'm Queen of Canada. That's a thing that you have to accept now. And I will rule Canada and probably the world, because I said so, and because it makes sense to me. Like, I wish I had those fucking balls. Can you imagine if I just, like, right now was like, okay, you know what? Rhombus party for life. The rhombuses are taking over. I, as the grand poobah rhombus, am now the king of everything. I'm the king of everything. I will start referring to myself as we the people, and I'll just start making proclamations that now we have to teach race theory. Now we have to allow trans kids the right to have access to trans affirming care. And if you don't like it, well, as the fucking king of Canada, I'll just put you in front of a military tribunal and then execute you. because that makes sense to me, that is how the world would be. This is freedom. This is my freedom to impose my will on every single human being on the planet. Like, where in the fuck? If I did that, I would hang my head in shame. I always joke about, like, if I was the God King of the world, but I should never be. No one should be. Honestly, if I was in charge of things, how would I run things? Because obviously the world is a bigger and more complicated thing than any one person can do. If I was in charge of the way the world went, we would run it based on smart people in their areas controlling how that works. So, for example, when we're talking about medical experimentation, you talk to medical experimentation people. You have experts who understand it. And you can balance that with people who have differing viewpoints. That's fine, right? If you want to, so for example, if you're having a conversation, a national conversation about the COVID vaccine, fine. Have the people who are experts in immunology and virology, and you can have the opinions of people who disagree. But you can also take those opinions and just throw them away if they're stupid. Right? I don't disagree that there's things that came up around, like the vaccine or whatever, that are less than perfect. The timeline is less than perfect. The fact that mRNA was used as a vaccine thing, I think that they've worked out, and I think that we're doing, we did what we needed to do, but that doesn't mean it was perfect. In a perfect world, you have plenty of runway to just come up with a vaccine. You know exactly how the virus is going to progress, and you can counter it. That's awesome. But this is not a perfect world. So we did the best that we fucking could. And meanwhile, these chowderheads are fucking screaming about, it's, the mortality rate. And they're doing the math wrong. Do you remember when they were fucking coming up? They would take, like, the population of people that had died and then divide that by, like, the total population of the world and be like, see, therefore, that's the mortality rate of the like, it's no. Most of the people in the world have not encountered the disease yet. What you have to do if you want to actually get a valid look at the mortality rate is look at the people who were infected and compare the people who died from the disease to those who weren't. That's a much more significant number, right? That's how math works. I am no math magician, and yet when I saw people posting this shit on Facebook, I was like, do you even know how math do? Because you don't, if this is the kind of argumentation you're making. Not only that, but we didn't fucking know. COVID has the potential, and still theoretically does, although I think, the chances are far less, but had the potential to be a significant threat to human life. And it didn't pan out that way. And it's really easy after the fact to be like, see, it was a waste, right? They do this with Y2K. I was involved in Y2K very, very little, thankfully. I specifically, I graduated from college in 1997. So in IT, that was most of the jobs. And I purposely tried to avoid the Y2K jobs because most of them were doing COBOL programming, which is a language I fucking hate. And also, in 3 years' time, your job's done. And now everyone who's been doing the same shit as you is now looking for work. So I wanted to do something different, and I did. And game me, way to go, brilliant plan, hoo-hoo. But people now are like, Y2K, what a scam, what a conspiracy. That was just a bunch of people trying to get paid, right? I'm like, no. Now, I will admit, there was plenty of stuff about Y2K that was stupid. I remember having a conversation with one of my colleagues, and she freaked out. She was like, oh my God, Y2K. And I was like, what are you worried about? And she's like, it's not us, but like Russia. Russia has all these nuclear silos, and like the computers are going to be fucked, and they're like going to launch bombs because Russia's not addressing this. And I was like, so you understand that if the date is wrong, if we pass the computer epoch and it goes back to 1972 or whatever the fucking particulars were, your date would be represented as 1972, I think. You understand that there's no command in some Russian military silo that says, if the date is 1972, launch a fucking bomb. She's like, yeah, but it's in all of the random number calculations. I'm like, okay, Do you think there's a command in the Russian military silo that says if X equals random number and X is 7, like, how do you get a wrong random number? What in the fuck? We haven't seen the last of COVID and the long-term effects. Oh, 100%. I definitely agree. The long-term effects are really the next wave of what needs to be understood in order for us to have a proper look back on this. And I don't think we've seen the last of COVID. I think what we've seen of it is the mutations seem to be getting less and less dangerous. But that doesn't mean that we couldn't have a really shit mutation that beat the fuck out of us and killed us. It is not to be taken lightly, even at this point. And please don't take anything that I've said as being like COVID, no big deal. I would say that the first wave of COVID was no big deal in the sense that what we saw didn't feel as dangerous as we had maybe braced ourselves for, which is good. You always want to plan for the worst, or prepare for the worst and hope for the best, which is what we did, which is when we saw this as a potential threat and we knew that coronaviruses had specific types of likely presentations and that, how that would potentially in a theoretical model affect humanity. We took the prudent step of overdoing it, and that's good. And those that didn't overdo it, that's why we kept long COVID is fucking scary. I have a friend of mine who has a daughter who has long COVID and she needs a wheelchair. Again, all of this shit we don't know yet. What we know is that COVID did a lot more than just make you a little sniffly. And it seemed like different strains of COVID had different, long-term effects. And we won't know about some of those long-term effects anytime soon. This is going to take time to understand the data and to be able to extrapolate what actually is and what isn't long-term effects of COVID. We're not done here. And I still am very, very fucking nervous about this. How nervous? Well, I'm glad you asked. Just nervous. I have a mask. I'm not going to pretend like I'm Superman and I'm still using my mask every time I leave the fucking house or anything. That would be a lie. But the truth is that I do put my mask on I took the bus the other day to go, I had a massage appointment, right? So I took the bus down, I was wearing a fucking mask. If I go into a place and there's a lot of people, I'm probably wearing a fucking mask. And that is because I have people in my life that I care about who are immunocompromised and who don't need this shit. I am not perfect by any stretch, and I'm not presenting myself as being, good at all of this shit. But I'm certainly not foolish enough to be like, oh, we beat it, it's over. Whether or not it's gone from pandemic to endemic, I can't speak to that. If Joe Biden wants to say that we beat it, fine. But to me, that was a really poor choice of phrasing, because I don't think it's beaten. I think it's and our death numbers are still pretty much the fucking same, if I'm not mistaken. It's more that, economy won over health. And, the same guys that are fucking foaming at the mouth about how, like, COVID isn't a big deal and you should just shut up and get a job are the ones that are like, and also, the whites are being replaced. No, dude, if you're fucking sad about the replacement rate of white people, maybe stop doing stupid shit that can get you killed. And maybe, protect your children who will present more of their fine white progeny in such a way that they don't get sick and they don't die before their fucking time, or through some weird fucking COVID, long COVID effect, wind up infertile or whatever. Again, I'm bullshitting here because that those things are ridiculous. The Great Replacement is ridiculous. It's accurate in the sense of, like, that is what the data shows us, that white people are not replacing, and that they will, at that rate, based on those models, they will become a minority. The reality, though, is that that's not where the fucking thing ends. That's only where it starts. The wackadoos start taking that particular bone and gnawing on it and deciding that It's like a plot, and it's like a plan to erase the white man. No, it's fucking not. White people aren't fucking as much because we live in an industrialized place, or, you know, largely industrialized places, where the necessity of a large family is not present. And in every single place that becomes an industrialized place, you see the birth rate drop. And that's how shit do, right? Unless you want to be like Mormon family and just shit out kids every 20 minutes, we're going to go down in our population. And that's not a bad thing. You know, I understand that people are like, well, you know, based on our economic model right now, like, you know, that's a serious threat to, well, what if we don't live on today's economic model? What if we don't subscribe to overconsumption for no apparent fucking reason? What if we, like, adjust how we as a species interact with our planet? That'd be cool. And that means that we don't need to, like, be murdering people so much as the problem's sort of taken care of itself by the fact that we don't need to have families of 17 and 18 fucking kids. It's stupid and unnecessary and dangerous because the planet was not designed to have 8 billion humans on it. That's a lot of humans. I don't know if you've ever counted up to 8 billion. It's a lot. It's a big fucking number. I have never counted up to a billion. Never wanted to have kids. Don't want to bring more people into this fucked up world. And that is a very common attitude. I do have kids. I have 4. Not because I wanted to be a Mormon and not because I was worried about the white replacement. I have 4 kids because I was in a relationship where the person I was with wanted more kids, and I was sort of beaten into submission to do that. Not to say that I don't love my kids. All my kids are awesome, but it's not the plan that I had. But the plan that I had went away as soon as I got married. But a lot of people don't want to have kids, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I support it because we don't need all these bodies. If more people chose not to have kids, we'd be doing better. I've heard that China's one-child policy and things like that have led to, like, apparently within a very short time, their population's going to, like, halve. I don't know if this is valid or if it's conspiracy bullshit or some other ridiculousness that you know, it's entirely possible I'm 100% wrong on this. But conceptually, like, we have too many humans and we don't want to kill them through sort of, you know, murder ways, because that feels awful. So how do we balance the equation? Well, there's a natural balance that comes from people not having large families. And this is the same fucking model that you can find if you take a like yeast culture and you feed it forever. Eventually the culture will collapse, because even if you always meet its you know, needs, it will collapse because things can't grow forever. That's just not a thing that happens in the world. Our species grew too far too fast, and now is having like a natural reaction to that of I don't want to have kids, so I'm not going to have kids, and the population dips down to what are going to be hopefully sustainable levels. That's not a conspiracy. It is not the protocols of the Elders of Zion. It is not globalists or degenerate Marxists or anything imposing their will on the nation. It's just simply people are not fucking as much as they used to. And when they are fucking, they're choosing to either wear a condom, pull out, have an abortion, all that kind of shit. Because the world that we currently are in isn't all that conducive to having a large family. And if you're not, this is the thing that people don't understand, I think, is replacement rate means that, like, for, you know, if I die, I have put another me into the world. But it's not that. It's actually that the overall birth rate is on par with the death rate, meaning that, you know, you have to more than replace yourself, because children will die, kids will die, adults will die, people will die, large numbers of people will die, and you have to make sure that you know, your population will continue to grow despite all of the things dying. So there's this magic, like, idea that, you know, 2.5 kids or whatever. That's, you know, with our current levels of technology, 2.5 kids is probably and I'm bullshit speculating, but it's probably the number in order to have the replacement rate. But then you've got queer people who are not having babies. You've got people who are, physically incapable of having babies. You've got people who, don't want to have babies. And all of a sudden, your number isn't 2.5 as an average. And okay, who fucking cares? Things are cruel for kids and parents under neoliberalism. You're supposed to raise kids alone in your single family home, then dump them in schools where they're often bullied and not cared properly so you can go to work and sustain the whole thing. Yeah, like, if you were to take someone out of any other society, like not on Earth, but like a space society, and they said, okay, lay it on me. What is this whole world that you guys have? And you go, well, I'm glad you asked. So you get married right out of high school. You immediately start having kids and incurring a massive amount of debt through post-secondary education, through home ownership at unreasonable rates. And so you have this economic driver that you have to continue to feed the economy. So you sell your time for, to essentially, never to get ahead, but to keep the beasts at bay, for all intents and purposes, and provide a little bit for your children who you don't have the time or luxury of looking after. And then the alien would be like, oh, but there's two of you, surely one of them will be the primary caregiver. You're like, no, you would think. But we've actually built a system where you can't afford to live like that. So you just don't. And you have two parents that are typically working, and the kids are largely feral, raised by themselves and by the culture that surrounds them, and then you put them into a public education system so that they can be molded into the next stage of workers. Like, that doesn't sound like a free society. That sounds like bees. I don't want to be a bee, not even like in a bee movie kind of way. It is a world that is surprisingly unfair. And I don't believe that fairness is like a human right or anything silly like that. But I do believe that, like, the systems that we've built don't fix that. And they're not intended to fix that, because they're intended to filter resources to the people at the top who want those resources and like having them and like having all of them. And I get that. I get that desire. I'd love to be independently wealthy and just like be able to, fly from yacht to super yacht. Like, I get that. But fuck off. That's not the world. We can't all do that. And if we can't all do that, that means that only a few can do that. And they are the ones who have the control on those systems. They bribe the politicians. They establish what the laws will be through lobby efforts and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, if I was a Gen Z coming out of high school right now, looking at the world, would I be like, hey, I should settle down and have a lot of kids, make sure that the white race isn't wiped out? Fuck no. I'd be like, you know what? I sure hope that one day I can afford to rent my own home. That's the world we're living in. Can you imagine? Like, we all know, if you're not, like, I'm old, so I'm not part of Gen Z. I'm sure, big surprise. But I know a lot of people in Gen Z, and none of them are in a place that's like, you know what we should do? We should buy a house and have a family. And like, they're all just like, you know what we should do? Let the gig economy drive us to death. Because that's what's available. And no, yeah, I fucking guarantee you that we're going to see population dips because people selfishly don't want to put their children through the poverty and the craziness of being raised in a home where both your parents are gig workers and you can't fucking accomplish shit. You can't raise your kids, you can't do right by them, and so why would you do that? Why not just not have kids? That makes sense. And the replacement rate is further and further unattainable. And so, by extension, we're, not having as many babies. So, yeah, white people will be the minority, and white people need to fucking hear that, and they need to start saying, instead of saying we need to fix that, what they need to start saying is, we need to fix what it means to be a minority in this country. We need to fix it so that when other people have power over us, they do not treat us the way that we historically have treated them. We need to ensure that our system is designed and fixed so that it can be equitable and fair and kind and have the best interests of all at its core. And when that time comes that we do not have the power that we wield today, unearned as it may be, when we find ourselves in that position, hopefully we have crafted a society that will not punish us for the fact that we were absolute assholes for so long. Hopefully we have crafted a society where people can be of any particular color and it not be the thing that matters. Because it doesn't, right? I'm a white guy. It matters in the sense, like, you know, I have privileges as a result of being a white guy. You can dislike that statement all you want. That's cool. But I do, because as much as I've been poor for my adult life, as much as I have, I don't look like everybody else, so, I'm not swept up into the C-level executive world, right? I've had things that are not privileges, but the de facto standard of me being a white male in this society is that it is intrinsically a little bit easier for me. And what we need to do is say, okay, you know what? Let's just say that the white male, that's how everyone should be treated in our society. And let's make sure that our system does that. And until we do that, people are going to be jealous. People are going to be frustrated at our privilege. So instead of, if we all like these privileges, then let's just establish that they're not privileges. They're just rights. Everybody gets to have that. And that's, end of sentence. Cops have to treat you fairly. Jobs have to care about your educational background and your capability of meeting the role. Not just the fact that you have a fleshy hunk of white cock that drives you forward in the world. That's probably not enough. Holy shit, that was a weird little tirade. All right, I am going to take a break, and when I come back, we're going to do some karaoke. And I don't know how long I'm going to do because I do have a gig tonight, but I also like karaoke. So I only have one song queued up in my list, so hopefully you will come up with some stuff that you would like me to sing awkwardly to you. And if not, maybe I'll just do it myself. Anyways, I will be back. I'm going to play some more of Jagmeet Singh and my awkward jazz music.
Mom and dad, my sister, everyone who's been such a big
And I will
support to me
return
throughout my
shortly.
life, my friends, and my team in Ottawa, my team here in BC, my team across the country. Thank you so much. Now again, there's far too many people for me to name, but if I can just name two people that can represent the entire team that I have, it's hard to do that, but there's two people I think you wouldn't mind that I recognize. They don't know I'm doing this, but I want to recognize two people, in fact, two incredible women that were integral to this campaign. And I'm proud to say they're women. It's something that's really powerful in our party. My campaign director, Jennifer Howard. And my national director, Melissa Bruno. Two of the most powerful positions in our party. We're not young, well, kind of youngish. Young, powerful women. Let's just say they're powerful women. Either Melissa or Jennifer are going to get really mad at me over that one. Both. I also want to thank the incredible people of Burnaby South for re-electing me, giving me the honor. I'm humbled. I'm humbled that you put your trust in me. Thank you. And I'm going to continue to work incredibly hard for you, to work with you, to work for you. Thank you. got to tell you, I've met throughout this campaign some incredible people, some inspirational people, and I'm inspired by them. Their stories have stuck with me. I've met these folks across the country, folks that inspire the work that we do as New Democrats. And one of those people is a young man, a young boy, barely 10 years old, who lives with a chronic illness, and told me that he wasn't worried about the chronic illness, wasn't worried about the medication and the injection, wasn't worried about the fact that if he didn't stay up on top of his medication or his blood work, he might die. He told me he wasn't worried about any of that. He was just worried that his medication was costing a lot to his mom and dad. He worried about being a burden to his family. I remember that young man. I remember that young man and the fact that someone as young as that felt like he was a burden in a country as rich as ours. And that's part of the reason why we're fighting. We're fighting for that young man. I also want to talk about Grassy Narrows, a community that represents the injustice historically and ongoing that Indigenous people continue to face. There are people of Grassy Narrows who are so resilient in the face of neglect and negligence, being ignored, being told they don't matter, being ridiculed. We brought the national campaign to Grassy Narrows to let them know that they do matter, that they are worth it. That Indigenous reconciliation is sometimes as simple as basic respect and dignity for the first people of this land. And that means clean drinking water. That means not taking Indigenous kids to court. That means equal funding for child welfare, for education, and quality homes. Mes amis, j'ai rencontré des jeunes de tous les milieux, plusieurs qui étaient passés à travers des moments difficiles. Ils étaient cyniques face aux politiciens, n'étaient pas convaincus. Mais ils m'ont dit, tout nous ressemble. Tu parles comme nous, tu nous vois. Aux gens de Québec, je veux dire merci. Évidemment, Évidemment, les résultats ne sont pas ce que nous voulions, mais l'accueil que j'ai reçu au Québec m'a fait chaud au cœur. Ce premier rendez-vous électoral nous a permis de mieux nous connaître. J'ai eu la chance de vous démontrer que nous partageons les mêmes valeurs. Je suis reconnaissant pour le soutien que nous avons reçu ce soir, mais ce n'est pas été assez. On va continuer à se battre pour vous. Oui, merci. Nous n'allons pas laisser tomber le Québec. Nous continuerons à y être présents. Je continuerai d'être présent au Québec. J'ai dit que nous allions unir les progressistes du Québec et du reste du Canada. Et ensemble, nous pouvons le faire et nous allons le faire.
Okay, there we go. Let me get the thing off my face. And then we're going to do some karaoke. And I have a gig tonight. I'm very stoked about that. I will be playing my trumpet. Trumpeting away. And it should be good. It should be a good time. It should be fun. That was kind of relaxing. Oh, I'm glad you liked that. That was me on bass, and all the other instruments are me programming on my computer because I'm a giant dork. There is a trumpet line for that. The whole point of my doing that was to create something that I could practice trumpet with and like play a horn over top of and just practice on improvising and stuff. And it's awful. It's genuinely awful. So I mute that track before we play it. But was that Jagmeet? That was Jagmeet Singh, yes. So I basically, what I did was I just played my music and a YouTube video, which is Canada election. Jagmeet Singh gives celebratory speech despite NDP drop-in seats from, when was that from? 3 years ago. So, yeah. All right, so I only had the one song that I immediately was going to do, and that is Square Hammer by Ghost. We'll see how well I do. I've never sang this before, except like in my kitchen. But it's a cool song. He has good French. Yes, he does. Exceptionally good at just everything. I like Jagmeet Singh. He's not perfect by any stretch, but neither am I.
Living in the night, these devils torn asunder. You call on me to solve a crooked rhyme. As I'm closing in, imposing on your slumber. You call on me as spells begin to chime. Are you on the square? Are you on the level? Are you ready to swear right here, right now, before the devil? That you're on the square, that you're on the level, that you're ready to stand right here, right now, right here, right now.
I love the like deep satanic version or lyrics.
Sacrificing nothing, still you call on me for entrance to the shrine. Hammering the nails into a sacred coffin. You call on me for powers clandestine. Are you on the square? Are you on the level? Are you ready to swear right here, right now, before the devil? That you're on the square, that you're on the level, that you're ready to stand right here, right now, right here, right now.
Good satanic music. I love the theatricality of Ghost.
Are you on the square? Are you on the level? Are you ready to swear right here, right now, before the devil? That you're on the square, that you're on the level, that you're ready to stand right here, right now, right here, right now. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. Right here, right now.
See, that wasn't so painful. Like, I feel good about that. We're not doing live videos here. That's not. This is karaoke time. I want to do something punk rock. I haven't done punk rock in a long time. Let's look for some Dead Kennedys to sing, because I do love me some Dead Kennedys. And I was talking about the Dead Kennedys just yesterday with one of my bands. Kill the Poor. That seems entirely fitting. Yeah, we're gonna do a little Dead Kennedys, Kill the Poor. At the CBC. I don't know what that means. Efficiency and progress is ours once more. Now that we have the neutron bomb, it's nice and quick and clean and gets things done. Away with excess enemy, but no less value to property. No sense in war, but perfect sense at home. The sun beams down on a brand new day. No more welfare tax to pay. Unsightly slums gone up in flashing light. The jobless millions whisked away. At least we have more room to play. Our systems go to kill the poor tonight. Gonna kill the poor. Kill the poor. Kill the poor tonight. I fucking love this song. Behold the sparkle of champagne. The crime rate's gone, feel free again. A wood-fleck dream with you, Miss Lily White. Jane Fonda on the screen today. Convince the liberals it's okay. So let's get dressed and dance away the night. While they kill the poor. Kill the poor. Kill the poor tonight. Kill the poor. Kill the poor. Kill the poor tonight. I guess there was some controversy where this song was used as a hype for Dead Kennedys playing in like Cambodia or something, and the irony in the lyrics was lost in translation, and it was like a fascist audience. Behold the sparkle of champagne. The crime rate's gone, feel free again. Life's a dream with you, Miss Lily White. Jane Fonda on the screen today. Convince the liberals it's okay. So let's get dressed and dance away the night. While they kill the poor. Kill the poor. Kill the poor tonight. Kill the poor. Kill the poor. Kill the poor tonight. Kill the poor. Kill the poor. Kill the poor tonight. That was fun. And now I feel like doing something a little bit more schmaltz. Ooh. Is this the song I'm thinking of? If it is, we're totally doing this. No, that's not the song I'm thinking of. Fucking song is that? I don't know. But we're gonna do something theatrical. We're gonna do something from Les Miserables. Because why not? Let's see. I want to do I Dreamed a Dream. What was it, like the black and red? Red and black, that's it. Is that on here? There is. So this might suck. We'll find out. We'll find out if this sucks. We'll find out together. Oh shit. Yeah. That's not helpful. Okay, we're not doing that. That was not helpful at all. I still want to do Les Miserables, but Okay, we'll do On My Own. I've never sang this song before. It's probably not. I think it's written for a woman. It's not going to be in my range. And I see if I remember it or not. We'll find out. Do a lot of finding out on this channel. That's what we do. That's how we roll. No, oh shit. No one to go to. I do not know the tune. Okay, we're not doing Les Miserables today. That's just proof positive that it was a poor choice. All right. So if we're not going to do Les Miserables, I did want to do something show-tune-y. Moulin Rouge, maybe? All right, we'll do Come What May. This will absolutely not be in my range. This doesn't feel like right. Am I the only one that feels like this is not right? This is not the song that I was thinking of. Shit, I'm nailing this. Okay, well, at least I know I can do El Tango de Roxanne. Sorry.
Word to the wise, my dear.
And they're fucking talking through it. No. How about this one? Fingers crossed. This also seems not right. Is this only on piano? No. Okay. I think we're okay. Fingers crossed. Will drive you mad. Roxanne, you don't have to put on that red light. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it is right. Roxanne, you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Roxanne, you don't have to sell your body to the night. His eyes upon your face, his hand upon your hand, his lips caress your skin. It's more. Oh, fuck. Can't stand. Wow, puberty. Hard. Why does my heart cry? Feelings I can't find. You're free to leave me, but just don't deceive me, and please believe me when I say I love you. That had some suck. Yo que te quiero tanto, ¿qué voy a hacer? Me dejaste en un tango. En el alma se me fue el corazón. Ya no tengo ganas de vivir. ¿Por qué no te puedo convencer que no te vendas, Roxanne? Building tension. Building all the tension. Shit, I can't remember how long this is.
Why does my heart cry? Feelings I can't fight.
You don't have to put on that red light, Roxanne. You don't have to wear that dress tonight, Roxanne. This was weird. This was very weird. Well, that's right. We're switching gears. We're gonna do I've Had the Time of My Life from the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. Because why the fuck not? My show tunes escapades. Now
I had the time of my life. No, I never felt like this before. Yes, I swear it's the truth. And I owe it all to you, 'cause I had the time of my life. And I owe it all to you.
I'm singing both parts.
I've been waiting for so long. Well, I finally found someone to stand by me. We saw the writing on the wall as we felt this magical fantasy. Now with passion in our eyes, there's no way we could disguise it secretly. So we take each other's hand, 'cause we seem to understand the urgency. Just remember, you're the one thing I can't get enough of. So I'll tell you something. This could be love, because I've had the time of my life. No, I never felt this way before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you. Hey, baby, with my body and soul, I want you more than you'll ever know. So we'll just let it go. Don't be afraid to lose control. Yes, I know what's on your mind when you say, stay with me tonight. Stay with me and remember, you're the one thing I can't get enough of. So I'll tell you something. This could be love, because I've had the time of my life. No, I never felt this way before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you, 'cause I've had the time of my life. And I searched through every open door till I found the truth, and I owe it all to you. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Yeah, it smells like Teen Spirit. That will be what we do next. Thank you, James Bond. A fine request. had the time of my life. No, I never felt this way before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you. I had the time of my life. No, I never felt this way before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you, 'cause I had the time of my life. I searched, open door till I found the truth, and I owe it all to you. Alright, the requests, they keep a-coming, and therefore we're gonna do Smells Like Teen Spirit. I have no idea if I can sing this or not. I don't think I ever have attempted this song before. We'll find out together. Load up on guns, bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard, self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello, 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 how low? Hello, 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 how low? Hello, 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 how low? Hello, hello, hello. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. I'm a lotto, an albino, a mosquito, my libido, yeah. Hey. Yay.
It's a great song, though. I mean, like, after all these years, still a fucking banger of a jam.
I'm worse at what I do best, and for this gift I feel blessed. Our little group has always been and always will until the end. Hello, 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 how low? Hello, 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 how low? Hello, 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 how low? Hello, hello, hello. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, touch my anus. I'm a lotto, an albino, a mosquito, my libido, yeah. Hey. Yay.
Well, I don't think I'm Kurt Cobain. Definitely not.
I forget just why I taste. Oh yeah, I guess it makes me smile. I found it hard, it's hard to find. Oh well, whatever, never mind. Hello, 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 hello. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertain us. I'm a lotto, an albino, a mosquito, my libido. I deny you, 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 I deny you.
That was fun. And I don't know why, but it made me think of a song by Holly McNarland, I think. They have it in karaoke. They do not. Maybe if I spell her name right. No. But that made me think of another song, Kay's Choice. We'll see if this works. I don't know if I remember this song. Okay, well, you have to give me the lyrics, you fucking schmucks. How do you think karaoke works? Ooh, lyrics on screen. That sounds like it's just... Okay, let's try this one. This is the same thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's... No, okay, we're not doing that song, because apparently it doesn't exist. That's a shame. I was hoping for the Elmo song. It's a really, really cool song, and I haven't listened to it in forever. All right, so what am I gonna do then? What am I gonna do? What's a good karaoke song? Let's do something really fucking 80s cheese. Like, let's see what Bon Jovi we can do. Done a bunch of these already, which is sad and embarrassing. What is it gonna give me as related stuff? You know what? I want to see if they have Scary Pockets. They do. They do have Scary Pockets on here. Well, what about what's the fucking I just saw it and it made me think of it. That's why I was like, that's it. Sweet Child of Mine. I'll see if they have it. Oh my God, they do. Okay, this will be fun. This is a way cooler version of the song. We can't get a horn solo. Well, no, the horn's not even upstairs, and it's probably a terrible idea. Have you ever heard of Scary Pockets? These guys fucking rule. This guy has a very different voice than mine, so it'll be odd.
She got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories where everything was just bright, it's a bright blue sky. Now and then when I see her face, she takes me away to that special place. So if I stare too long, I'll probably break down and cry. Oh, sweet child of mine. Oh, sweet love of mine. She got eyes of the bluest skies, as if they thought of the rain. I hate to look into those eyes and see an ounce of faith. Her hair reminds me of a warm, safe place where as a child I'd hide, pray for the thunder and the rain to quietly pass us by. Oh, child of mine. Oh, sweet love of mine. It's like a cool jazz version of this song. I fucking love Scary Pockets. It's so much fun. And apparently one of the guys that's in it, like, founded Patreon. Oh, sweet child of mine. Oh, sweet love of mine. Oh, sweet love of mine. Yeah. Oh, sweet child of mine. Song just keeps on going. This is how Axl Rose felt when it was like, where do we go now? True story. Really? That was necessary? Yeah. Okay, well that was fun. But it makes me want to do like something a little jazzy. Let's look for jazz karaoke. Ooh, there's a jazz standards playlist. View the full playlist. Nature Boy is one of like my favorite songs. I used to sing that to my children. Autumn Leaves, gorgeous song. I've Got You Under My Skin is like I always remember that song from the Muppets. There was a episode of the Muppets and there's a big monster on the screen. He's like, I've got you under my skin. And then his mouth opens and there's a guy inside and he's like, yes, he's got me under his skin. Ain't Misbehavin'. This is a song that I sang when I was in high school as part of a choir. And I love the guy's like shitty, like kind of voice. We'll see if I remember this. I think that's approximately the thing. Long intro. I'm gonna drink coffee. I'll find and post a link on Discord. For which? It's a really long fucking intro. My poor child just came back in the room thinking he was under my skin. Yeah. You mean the Muppets version? Yes, please. That would be awesome. Alright, looks like the song's about to like get to the part where there's vocals. No one to talk with, all by myself. No one to walk with, but I'm happy on the shelf. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. For you, for you, for you. I know for certain, the one I love. I'm through with flirting, it's you that I'm thinking of. Ain't misbehaving, saving my love for you. Like Jack Horner in the corner. Don't go nowhere. What do I care? I don't know this. Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me, I don't stay out late. No place to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving all my love for you. Ooh, it's picking up.
Yeah, this turns out when you haven't sang a song since high school, that gets harder the farther away high school gets. I feel like they use metric modulation in this song to speed it up significantly. No place to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, saving my love for you. Alright, that was okay, but it wasn't what I wanted. So we're gonna do a song that I actually know that I can do. Yeah, what the fuck is that song? There we go. This is technically not a classic jazz song, but it's a standard. We're going with it. Mac the Knife. Oh, the shock, babe, has such teeth. Why do I hear the fucking words in the background? Stop that shit. Try a different one. That's annoying as shit. All right. There's a lot of dots that are coloring it, but... Oh, the shark, babe, has such teeth, dear, and it shows them pearly whites. Just a jackknife as old Mac Heath, babe, and he keeps it out of sight. You know when the shark bites with his teeth, babe, scarlet billows start to spread. Fancy gloves though wears old Mac Heath, babe, so there's never a trace of red on the sidewalk. Ooh, Sunday morning, lies a body just oozing life, and someone's sneaking round the corner. Could that someone be Mac the Knife? Ah, there's a tugboat down by the river, don't you know, where a cement bag's just drooping on down. That cement bed, it's there for the weight, dear. 5 will get you 10. Old Mackie's back in town. Now you hear about Louis Miller. He disappeared, babe, after drawing out all his hard-earned cash. And now Mackie spends just like a sailor. Could it be our boy's done something rash? Oh, Jenny Diver, ooh, Suki Tawdry, oh, Miss Lotta Lanya, and oh, Lucy Brown. Oh, the line forms on the right, babe, now that Mackie's back in town. I said Jenny Diver, ooh, Suki Tawdry, look out, Miss Lotta Lanya, and old Lucy Brown. Yes, the line forms on the right, babe, now that Mackie's back in town. Look out, old Maggie is back. Hey, that's a fun song. All right, you posted the link in Discord, didn't you? We're gonna watch that little clip, cause god damn it, why not? Where'd you put it? Not in announcements, because you can't post in there. It's only me. Is it in general? It is in general. I'm good at stuff. All right, we're gonna jump here, and we're gonna paste it in, and we're gonna watch this together.
Let the scariness begin.
I've got you
You've got me
under my skin.
under your skin.
I've got you
You've got me.
deep in the heart of me.
That's very true.
So deep in my heart,
Oh,
you're really a part of me.
I don't want to be a part of you.
I've got you under my skin.
I've tried so not to give in.
Did he just come out of his shoulder?
I said to myself, this affair never will go so well. But why should you try to resist when, darling, I know so well? I've got you
Got me.
under my skin.
Just give me a chance here. You'd sacrifice anything come what might for the sake of having me near, in spite of a warning voice that comes in the night and repeats in your ear.
Don't you know, little fool? You never can win. Use your mentality. Wake up to reality.
But each time I do, just the thought of you makes me...
Stop before you begin. Because I got you
You got me.
under my skin.
That was adorable. All right, I'm gonna do one more karaoke song, and then I'm gonna call it because I do have a gig tonight. What do I want to do? A final karaoke number. I don't suppose they have any Psycho Stick, do they? Or at least any Psycho Stick that I know. No. Okay, maybe we'll try some Real Big Fish. I know they have Real Big Fish. They have Beer, they have Sell Out, they have Take On Me, which is a terrible idea. Kiss Me Deadly? Is this like the... I want to hear this, and if it's the song I think it is, then we're going to do it. It's a question of, is this the Kiss Me Deadly by Lita Ford or by Generation X? Or is it a whole different song? Yeah, Lita Ford. Party last Saturday night, I didn't get laid, I got in a fight, It ain't no big thing. Late for my job and the traffic was bad, had to borrow $10 from my old man, It ain't no big thing. Went to a party last Saturday night. I told you that story, it'll be alright, It ain't no big thing. But I know what I like. I know I like dancing with you. And I know what you like. I know you like dancing with me. Dance with me, kiss me once, kiss me twice. Come on, pretty baby, kiss me deadly.
Kiss me once, kiss me twice. Come on, pretty baby, kiss me deadly. Had a few beers, getting high, sitting, watching the time go by. It ain't no big thing. Nothing to eat and no TV. Looking in the mirror, don't do it for me. It ain't no big thing. But I know what I like. I know I like dancing with you.
I do.
And I know what you like. I know you like dancing with me. Dance with me. Kiss me once. Kiss me twice. Come on, pretty baby. Kiss me deadly. Kiss me once. Kiss me twice. Come on, pretty baby, kiss me deadly. Whoa. This is good horn. Well, if you like dancing with me, shit. Dancing with me. Kiss me once. Kiss me twice. Come on, pretty baby. Kiss me deadly. Kiss me once. Kiss me twice. Come on, pretty baby. Kiss me. Come on, pretty baby. Kiss me. Come on, pretty baby. Kiss me deadly. Kiss me deadly. Went to a party last Saturday night. Oh shit. Didn't get laid. And I fell into the jacuzzi. Let's see if they have the Generation X version, just so we can compare and contrast. Very, very similar songs. I think they were all friends too. Like Lita Ford was friends with David Bowie back in the Runaway days. Oh, sorry, to Maximum Rockabilly. When two punks choose to risk the subway for a tube to Piccadilly. The Zephyrs stir fast gangs for glory. Another dumb casualty, having fun in Southwest 6 with a hidden flick knife flicks. Kiss me deadly tonight. Another oops shit was won and lost down the Bishop's End last night. Spotlights pick the kids in triumph with 1,000 scarves in flight. Fly, how they run. Spring from oh shit. Spring from the terraces in black and white. Young and old into the fight. Having fun. Southwest 6, violence for a fix. Kiss me deadly tonight. 7 o'clock they stand in rank for the bar 30 bus downtown. And later in that downstairs room, she pulls her lover down. Ecstasy, but they can't make a sound. His mother might come down. Shit, having fun Southwest 6 discovered teenage sex. Kiss me deadly tonight.
The timing is off on the lyric scroll. Snooker. Oh shit, see now that I was wrong.
Snooker hall is empty, 'cause they're all out playing pool. Hustling down the Fulham Road to deals with Mr. Cool. They're on the waterfront now, instead of ship.
I don't know how that went.
Having fun. Southwest 6. Having fun. When a hidden flick night flicks, with violence for a fix, discovers teenage sex, tried shooting up for kids. Kiss me deadly. Kiss me deadly. Kiss me deadly. Kiss me tonight.
Now the weird thing about that song, let's see if I can figure out where it is. I guess the very beginning will work.
Last Saturday night, I didn't get laid.
I got it. It's like the same basic chord progression. All right. Do I want to do one more song? I think I do. What do I want to do? I had a thing that popped into my head and then popped out. What was the thing that popped into my head and then popped out? Fuck was the thing? There was I was like, oh, that'd be a perfect thing to end it on. You know what? I don't know what it was. So I'm just going to end it. Rather than digging around, trying to figure out one more song. No, I want to do one more song. Oh, I remember what it was. I don't imagine they have it. But we're going to see if they have any Manic Hispanic. Rudy Cholo. Okay, we're going to do... This is racially insensitive because I'm not a Latino, but we're doing it anyways. Assuming the lyrics show up on the fucking screen. This isn't even the one I wanted to do. They have immigrated. Okay. Hang on. No, that's the song I want to do. Okay, well we'll do Rudy Cholo. Assuming that like some noise is gonna come, and then I will be done. Then I will be done. I don't know if I can do this without like faking a Hispanic accent.
Echoes of the oldies coming through my barrio walls. They're throwing him a goodbye party, but he's sitting there all alone. Someone's humping in my bedroom, and his cousins are freaking out. They think no one respects him, and they're ready to turn out. Destination unknown. Rudy, 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 Rudy Cholo. Destination unknown. Rudy, 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 Rudy Cholo. He's leaving. He's running away from the man. They tried to bust for a drive-by, so he's leaving while he can. He can't make it in the pinta. He'll go crazy locked up inside. So he kisses her on the cheek and he heads off into the night. Destination unknown. Rudy, 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 Rudy Cholo. Destination unknown. Rudy, 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 Rudy Cholo. I'm doing really like my best not to use a Hispanic accent because I feel like that would be like mockery, and I'm just singing the song. Lupe's heart is breaking. She realizes Rudy is gone. She cries herself to sleep and wonders if he'll ever come home. Someday he might send for her and she follow him wherever he goes. She dreams of his chorizo, dreaming all alone. Destination unknown. Rudy, 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 Rudy Cholo. Destination unknown. Rudy, 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 Rudy Cholo. 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 Alright, and with that we come to the end of the stream. We talked about the bizarre concept of critical infrastructure, and then we talked a little bit about the Queen of Canada and how ridiculous sovereign citizen movement and QAnon shit is. And then we did some karaoke. So I feel like we did good. We did good. So I'm gonna call it there, and I'm gonna say I hope everyone has a good night, good rest of your day, depending on where the fuck you are. Good tomorrow, and in the meantime and in between time, that's it for another edition of the Unrelenting Yammerings. And I pushed the wrong button for reasons I don't know. That would have been way cooler. I do this like every time too. That's so